24.
You know, Celsius or water?
Celsius. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for today.
Sure. So, what I would like to teach you, well, try to learn with you, is what I learn with my students. Gemara Makkos. Gemara Makkos is a pretty shortish Masechta, 26, not the smallest one, 24 pages, 24 lots. And there are many middle schools, definitely Chabad middle school. Yeah, I think in generally the middle school boys that learn this Masechta.
What page it is?
What's the first page? Page What's special of this Masechta? What's special about this Masechta? Why do so many boys learn it? Why taught? I don't know the answer, but I could assume. First of all, it's a short Masechta. So if you get young boys to finish a full Masechta, that's definitely a nice thing. Also, the first parak that we're going to learn today, in the beginning of it, really covers a lot of different topics. You learn sometimes learning a Gemara, and you're kind of focused on the same few ideas. Let's say learning the beginning of Shabbos, so you're talking about carrying. Okay, so first of all, everything is only about Shabbos. So all the concepts you're learning are only Shabbos related. And sometimes you can be focused on really one concept throughout the whole Perek. Okay, you're talking about Shabbos, okay, right? Okay, so you're really all discussing the same topic. Here, it's one topic, as we'll discuss, but it goes over a lot of different topics. So I find for young boys, it's very good. You're really you're teaching them although we're teaching them one Masechta, but it's really covering a variety of topics, and it gives them a really good understanding of a lot of different ideas in Torah. So this Perek discusses what's called Eidim Zayin. So before we get to our mission, we have to explain a little bit. Torah tells us that we believe two witnesses.
Bishnei
Eidim Yakum Davar, exactly. Two witnesses. That's who we trust to ascertain that an event happened. Now, parenthetically, the fact that we have two witnesses, they're just to let us know that the event happened. So, for example, if I come to Bezin and say you owe me money, in order for the Rav to make sure you pay me, I have to bring witnesses that testify that they saw that I gave you money. So the witnesses are there what's called the Guluye Milsa. The witnesses are there to reveal what happened. We don't know what happened. The Bezdin wasn't there. So two witnesses let us know that the event happened. There are a few times, maybe perhaps even only one time, actually more than once, that the Eidim not only are there to let us know that it happened, but if there was no witnesses there, it's as if it didn't happen. What's an example for that?
If somebody made an affair
Well, even if there's no witness,
korban, that he has to bring a korban.
Fine, but the Avera he did. Even if there was no witnesses, he still did it. But there's one case, maybe even two, that
marriage.
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 A man could have given a wife a ring and said, "At the end of the sleep." If there was no witnesses,
it's nothing.
He's not married. It's what's called there's Eidei Kiyum and Eidei Bidur. Eidei Bidur are witnesses are mevader. They let us know that it happened. Eidei Kiyum means they make it exist. I think another example would be the Kiddush HaChodesh. If the witnesses say that there was a new moon, so that day becomes Rosh Chodesh. If there was no witnesses, even though technically there might have been a moon, let's say it was cloudy, doesn't make a difference. There was no witnesses, there was no moon, there's no Rosh Chodesh. Okay.
So according to this, a person comes to a girl two witnesses who said, "Haret Mekudeshet." Mekudeshet. That's all you need. To fix problems.
The problem that sometimes we have, kids play around. So, it's a problem.
Very
You
good
have to be
problem.
very careful.
Yeah, but the witnesses are usually they're usually the same age as the kids. So
Well, it's not if you have teenagers, they're over by mitzvah.
yeah,
Yeah, sometimes it's a problem.
yeah.
Okay. So what happens when you have two witnesses say that you owe me money, but then two other witnesses say, no, you don't owe money. We were there, and that money was never gave him any money. That's called Eidei Hakosha. You have two sets of witnesses that contradict each other. Hakosha. They contradict each other. So when you have two and two against each other, what does Torah say? We don't believe any of them. We don't know who to believe. Two witnesses say that they saw that I gave you money on Sunday morning. The other one says, no, we were there Sunday morning and you didn't give him any money. So either it happens or we don't know. So, Eidei Akasha, case dismissed. We don't know.
If another head comes, not two,
Yeah.
and say, with this one or with this one, they will go. He said Krishna Edi.
Yeah.
But this two,
If it's three against two,
yeah.
the
You don't need another two?
that doesn't matter. There's a rule, and it's brought here in the Gemara a lot. Today, Kemeya, two witnesses has the same string as 100. It can be two against 100, doesn't matter. We don't leave any of them.
I don't think there's enough Gemara. If you want, you could sit next to me. I don't think there's enough.
Or I can use my phone.
So why are you on here?
Okay. So that's called Eidei Akasha. This Gemara is talking about a very specific type of testimony, which is like this. That you have two witnesses come and say, I mentioned this morning, two witnesses come and say that Sunday morning I gave you money. So now you owe me $100. And now another two witnesses come and say, we don't know if I gave him $100. Maybe I didn't, maybe I didn't. But they tell the witnesses that you guys definitely weren't there. You were with us somewhere else. Imanu Hayisa. So they're not saying that I didn't lend him money. Could be I did. They don't know. They're not contradicting the testimony, they're contradicting the witnesses. That is something unique that Torah says that in such a case, we believe the second group. Even though, why isn't it in the first case? The first case, you have two against two. We say we don't believe anybody. Here, it's two against two. But because it's about the witnesses, Torah says that in this case, we believe the second group. So there's no reason for it. Torah says that we believe the second group. Now, what's their punishment? The punishment is that whatever they try to do, it happens to them. So let's say, if the first group were saying that you owe me $100, and now we find out that those two witnesses are no good, so now they have to pay you $100. They try to make you lose $100. They were proven to be false witnesses. So now they have to pay you $100. Now, it doesn't only work like that with money. It also works like that. It was capital punishment. If they come and say that Reuven killed Shimon on purpose, which the halach would be that then Reuven gets killed. So now the second group comes and says, no, you guys were with us. So now they get killed. Oh wow. So that's called Eidim Zayim. That's the topic of this perek.
Eidim has to be not relative where it's happening.
For sure. So there's
no relative at all.
So Gemara Sanhedrin, the Rambam will go through all the laws of who is qualified to be a good witness. Yeah, they can't be related, not a father and a son, etc., etc. So this Gemara is going to discuss different cases of Eidim Zayin. And interesting that the first Mishnah doesn't actually tell you what Eidim Zayin is. The first Mishnah jumps in to tell you a specific case of Eidim Zayin in a case that we don't do the reciprocal punishments. We do something else. And so it's a very interesting case, and it brings up a lot of other interesting topics. So let's start. How do Eidim become Zayin? So what happens? What's the case? Me'idim anu beish pleni shuhu ben gerusha a ben chalutza. Two people come to Bezin and say that this person, Reuven, let's call him, he is the son of a divorcee or a son of a woman who did chalitza. So let's explain. Oh, talking about a kohen here, exactly. So a kohen is not allowed to marry certain people. Kohen is not allowed to marry a divorcee, someone that was once divorced. A kohen is not allowed to marry them. A kohen has to marry a a basula, a single woman, or a mana. A regular kohen, no, a regular kohen is allowed to marry a widow. A kohen gadol cannot marry a widow, but a regular kohen can't marry a woman who was once divorced. I don't think in that case either. I don't think that he's allowed to marry her either. Sorry for you. No, I don't think so. I think he's not allowed. He's looking around. Some people more. Okay. Then there's something called Yibum. Okay.
Yeah, any woman who's not a virgin.
Okay.
The scripture so referred to the whole to the Halakha Shah.
Yeah.
As long as she never consorted with someone who she is not allowed to marry.
Okay.
This is okay.
Then there's something called Yibum.
Now before that, if a woman not virgin, but she didn't lose her virginity if she was with a man. She was unbiked, sometimes you lose your virginity. Yeah. So what the halakha?
I think it's fine. I think it's
fine.
I think so. But we're talking about a kohen cannot marry a woman that was once divorced, or a woman that did chalitza. What's chalitza? So in the midst of yibum, that if someone passed away without any children, so his brother has the mitzvah of yibum to marry his sister-in-law. What if he doesn't want to? So he does what's called chalitza, right? Interesting process where he takes off his shoe. Now it's interesting. I actually show this to my students. You know what I use this in a second.
Show them chalitza?
Show them chalitza.
Yeah, I saw the video. And
so today, today we don't do yibum, although it could happen. Unfortunately, you have sometimes a young Yibum? I don't think we do Yibum.
There was a whole big controversy about it.
Okay, I never heard of that, but I do know that we do chalitza. So I actually have a relative that did a chalitza recently. Just interesting because it's I don't remember the story, but basically it was the passed away without children. Yeah, and his brother was already married with many children, with married children. Luckily, in Torah, he saw to the chalitza, because technically a man is allowed to have more than one wife. So he flew to New York and he did chalitza. So I actually show this video to my students. It's in Tehran. A video of a case of chalitza where the brother-in-law takes off like a sandal that's wrapped around the woman's leg. This is in Tehran, yeah. Rabbi Garmani? Who's the rabbi there in what? Garmani, yeah? He's the rabbi of the Sfaradim over there, no?
Yeah, they have. We're starting from Iran, they're running here, sure. I think it's 100%.
Beit Chalul Sanoal. This is a video of Chalitza. You ever saw Chalitza? Not very common. It's not usually a very public event. But that was Chalitza. Okay.
There's one about a couple of years ago. I'm just keep okay.
Oh yeah, they did a live. Okay, fine.
Not intentionally, but yeah. I remember the.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it depends on the situation. Sometimes, like I said, it could be someone that older man, whatever, that, can have children, and, but sometimes, unfortunately, it can happen when they're actually very young. Let's call it. So, a woman that did the process of chalitza, also a kohen can't marry her. Why? Because really, she's very similar to a divorcee. Because really, once her husband dies, really, she doesn't even have to do kiddushin with her brother-in-law, because they're kind of already connected. So if he doesn't want to live with her, so now they have to separate themselves and do chalitza. So it's basically like a divorce. So a kohen can't marry any of them. So now what's the case that we're talking about here? When two people come to bed and say about, you have a guy, a kohen, you have a kohen, and these two witnesses come and say, hey, you're a kohen. We were by your mother's. Let's say they're saying we were there when your mother got divorced from her first husband. And this guy grew up thinking that his mother was never married before. So people come and say, "Hey, your mother is really a gurusha."
So it can be a coin.
Oh, what does that mean? That he's not a kohen. He's what's called a chovel. Chovel means someone that's not a valid kohen, because his parents weren't allowed to marry each other. So let's look at the Mishnah again. Two people come to Bezin and say, we testify against this person, Shehu ben Gerusha, ben Chalutza, that he is the son of a divorcee or a son of the Chalutza. Look at Ash, the second line. They're saying we were there when his mother got divorced from her first husband before you were born. And now, apparently, you consider yourself a kohen, your mother got remarried, but you're not really a kohen, not even cholol.
You need a for divorce?
Yeah, for sure.
You need?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah. Yeah, just like my kedusha.
I think that.
Oh, so now when it comes to the Edom Zaymin, what seemingly so, and now what happens? So the Mishnah doesn't even say it, but now what happens? A second group of witnesses come and say, "No, you guys are not good witnesses. You guys weren't even there. You were with us on the other side of the world." So now, what seemingly should be the punishment for these two witnesses? If let's say if they're kohenim,
41.
well, really, what should it be? We said, what's the punishment for Edom Zaymin? Right, exactly. Well, they get the reciprocal punishment. So you would think that, so now they should become a chovish. You know what? That's what you tried to do. Reciprocal punishment. So now you're also a chovish. Says the Mishnah. No, we don't say that. We don't say we don't say that he should be a ben grushim and chalutza instead of him. Rather, he gets malchus. In this case, we say we don't give the reciprocal punishment. We'll see in the Gemara later why. Next case, Midamanavish Plaini Shuchai Liglos. We see about someone that he's chayv to go to Golos. What does it mean he's chayv to go to Golos? That he killed by mistake. We saw the Reuben killed by mistake Sunday morning in New York. Oh, so you have to go to Ari Mikvah. And now what happens? Now a second group comes and says, "No, you were with us in China Sunday morning. And you guys weren't there. We don't know who killed him. Maybe he's dead, he's alive, we don't know, but you guys are not good witnesses." So seemingly what should happen? They should go to Golos also. Does the Mishnah know a name is a doctor but we don't say that that the witnesses go to Golos instead, rather he gets one. So we have two cases here where we don't say that the witnesses get the reciprocal punishment, rather they get mulcts. Okay. So the Gemara's obvious question is, we're starting off the Bedek discussing Edom Zayim. He's not even telling what Edom Zayim is. What does he start telling you? He starts off with the question, when do Edom become Zayim? But then what does he tell? He doesn't even tell you a real case of Edom Zayim. Because a real case of Edom Zayim, you have to get the reciprocal punishment. So if you look actually, when does the Mishnah actually tell you what Edom Zayim are? It's like the fourth Mishnah or something.
Before that, Shas and Mishnah said no mention of Edom Zayim.
Up until here before. Yeah, so this is so this is very disgusting. But the first few missions, he's telling you all the cases where they don't get reciprocal punishment. And only on Daf Hey, the mission there will the Gemara will tell you what actual Adam Zaymim is. So in fact the Gemara asks, how Ketzad ain't Adam Nasim the Gemara the mission should have said, how do witnesses not become Zaymim? Because we're not discussing actual cases of Zaymim, we're discussing cases where they don't get reciprocal punishment. Void. Later on, like you said on Daf, hey, the Mishnah discusses how does he became Zaymim? If they say, how could you testify you were with us at a different place? They call it Zaymim. So that over there we're talking about Zaymim. Here it's not Zaymim. In other words, the Gemara is asking, you're starting up to Masechta, tell us what Adam Zaymim are. You're starting out with a case that's not a real case of Adam Zayn. So the Gemara gives a typical Gemara style answer that what a Makkos is a continuation from the previous Masech, and it's kind of it's a continuation. It's like those that we learn Soita now, whatever summer with the base of Surisalimar. Gemara asks also what are the beginning of Seitos and start. I'm telling you, that Seitos really is continuation from Nazir. Nazir is a continuation from Nedarim, right? That was the order. Nedarim, what comes first? Whatever. The Gemara explains the order of the Masech. Went from Shubis, Surah and Nedarim, Seita, then Nazir. Yeah. So here also, the Gemara is saying this is really a continuation from the previous Masechta. The Gemara is Sanhedrin. What does it say at the end of Sanhedrin? So it says like this, Tana Haskem. So the Tana of this mission is continuing from Sanhedrin. What does it say in Sanhedrin? Kol hazeim min magdimin lo isem yisok, chutz mizeim min baskoyeinu boyelo. Okay. So we know there are Bezdin can give 4 types of punishment. Is Gila, Sreifa, headache, and Tenet. And it's very hard to teach my students. If you look at the Rambam, it's pretty serious stuff. Although, actually, at the end of this Pedek, Gemara says that a Bezdin would kill once in 7 years. So one opinion says once in 7. And I think it's Rabbi Kiva that says, no, it's actually once in 70. That if a bezin that kills once in 70 years is considered chavlonis. The last mission here, I think. Why is it hard to teach the students?
It don't happen it's happened once.
It's gross, yeah.
Where your students live?
Yes. I'm in Houston, Texas. So the one that says, the Sanhedrin that kills once in 7 years is considered destructive. Okay. And then what to discuss is what type of questions they would ask. But Tarfin and Kibo said that they would never kill. They would have such crazy questions to ask the witnesses that someone will never able to get killed. Like they would ask if they say that Reuben killed Shimon, so Reuben is 5 minutes, they would say, well, maybe Shimon was a treifa, which means maybe Shimon was really maybe he had some sort of terminal illness that he would have died anyways. Even though you're not allowed to kill such a person, but you're not chayiv for it. Similar, if someone kills a nafel, someone kills a preemie baby, one of the sons. So obviously not allowed it, but if someone does, they're not chayiv because
so might not be able to
exactly. It's questionable anyway. So
according to Rabbi Akiva, the Sanhedrin were very, very good.
Yeah. So generally saying that what makes with the chiddush of a rav is not that he could be strict. It doesn't take much for a rav to be strict. Anybody can be strict. What makes a rav a good rav is that he can find a way to be lenient, to find a way to say that it's kosher. That's really the godless of anybody can be strict and say chayiv. What makes someone an excellent rav is really when he can find a way how it's really kosher.
What they are sick was looking just to be making.
Yeah.
Well, unless you know better, I can make it also.
Well, okay. So obviously, you have to,
Legitimately.
has to be legitimately, exactly. Um, the radio Yosef, I'll just do the video of the nine of by the 9 days. You will like this one. By the video going around Sasson by the 9 days, the video going around from a thing of Radio Yosef. Why the Ashkenazim they don't take showers in the 9 days. So this, so he says, "Hey machmirim, shalom mitkalchim b'zishat hayamim. Hem lo machmirim, hem chamorim."
The same word.
Kavod abriyot.
It's right.
You probably heard the thing that Rabbi Dickner Miller quoted always. If you shower 9 days, go to the shower every day, shower every other day, shower every other day, maybe not shower.
But
If you don't shower at
you
least
can't-
once
you
every
can't-
few days, you should
can't-
shower more often.
Yeah, so you can't call the Rav to ask him this question. You have to go to the Rav and stand right next to him and ask him.
Yeah, so what's the call go around? It's not allowed to.
Yeah, okay.
Finish the wash.
So the point is like this. Let's get back to it. Okay, so there are skills save and chenek. Now, what's the case we're talking about the end of Sanhedrin? So it says like this: if Zayme Bas Koyin Uboyla, if a Bas Koyin, if you have a married you have an Ishish, you have a married woman that she goes and has relations with another man. So her punishment is she gets chenek. Her and the man. Right? They had she's already married, she's a Ish, they get chenek. Now, if she is a bas kohen, if she's a daughter of a kohen, so she gets sreifa. Now, what happens when you have an interesting case? Two people come to Bezin and say that this bas kohen did an aveda with this man. So what are they saying? They're saying that he needs to get chenek and she needs to get sreifa. Now, what happens? A second group comes and says, hey, you guys weren't there, Imanu Ha'is, and you were with us somewhere else, you guys are not valid. So what happens? They're supposed to get the reciprocal punishment. So which one do they get? They get chenek, or do they get sreifa?
Wow. Really makes a difference?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a
It's both.
I'm saying you can't do both. So generally, you actually say that just because you get generally you say you get the harsher one. Between Sreifa and Chenek would be
both.
right. So it would be Sreifa the harsher one. Actually, in the second part, there's a machlokes, which is harsher, but it's not between Chenek and Sreifa. It's between Chenek and something. Where's there's a machlokes about Skila or Chenek and Skila maybe I don't remember. Anyway, in the second part of the machlokes, but here it's clear that so you would think, yeah, where they take a rope and they the the strings. So really you would think that the Edom should get safe because it's harsher. So the Mishnah Sanhedrin says, let's go back inside. Tana Hasam over there. Tana Hasam the Tana of Makkos is continuing from Sanhedrin. That what's the end of the Sanhedrin? The end of the Sanhedrin says that Kol HaZemimin anytime there's Edom Zemim, they get the reciprocal punishment, whatever punishment they try to impose. Besides, in the case when there's Zemim against a Bas Koyin and the person that she had relations with, they don't get the exact punishment, the exact death. They get something else. In other words, instead of getting Seifa, they get Chenek. So that was the end of Sanhedrin. Which means that we're talking about a case where Edim don't get the exact punishment; they get a different punishment. So on that theme, in continuation to that, says our Gemara. And then there are witnesses that don't get the reciprocal punishment at all. Not instead of Seifa, you get Chenek, but a totally different punishment. And what is that? Our Mishnah, Ketzad Rather, you would get Makkos. What is that? Like our Mishnah said, that they say against someone that his mother was really a divorcee. They were there by the mother's divorce to the mother's chalitza ceremony, and then they become Zavim. So you would think really that now, if the Eidim, if they are Koyanim, so they should become a Chalol. That's the Mishnah. No, okay, so this is the first shtickle Gemara, and we had showed a video here of chalitza. What? You see, yeah, comes around. So for me, I love teaching this at the beginning of the year because it's the capture the boy's attention. You can see it. You can see it, and it's fascinating. They don't really see chalitza every other day, so it's amazing. Okay.
What age was you teaching?
I teach 13, 14. Yeah.
Yeshiva.
It's 8th grade. 7th, 8th grade. Yeah. Going into yeshiva. Okay. So now the question is why? Why don't they get this? Seemingly, what do you mean? The pasuk says they get to see some way. They get the same punishment. Why do we say that they get Makkos? The pasuk says, pasuk says you do to him as he schemed to do. So you learn from there. You make him a chalal, what happens? If let's say now all of his children are chalal, so you're not punishing him, you're punishing also everybody else. That's not part of the deal. Torah says you give him what he's going to do. If you can make him a chalal, it's going to cause all the children.
What you punish, or what will someone kind of punish the children do?
Well, yeah, fine. Obviously, the children are affected, but you're not you're not changing the status of the child. Here, you're changing the status of for forever. Okay, so it says the Gemara. So we live slowly. The day lives to the zari. So just make him a chol, not his children. So no, you can't do that because we know kasher zam lasses you have to do what he schemed to do, and he planned to make him and his children the chalol. So you can't give him half. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it. So if you can't do it, so that he gets more. Okay, here's the interesting part. By Pada or by Pada tries, so if Shmuel you said it from a person. By Pada is going to try to use Kal V'Chomer, but the Gemara is not going to accept. But he brings the interesting Kal V'Chomer. It's like this. U'maha mechalel einim yischalel. It's an interesting thing. You have someone that you have a kohen. You have a kohen that marries a gerusha. So now his children are chalal. They're not kohen anymore. But the kohen himself, the guy himself that married the gerusha, what happens to him? He's still a kohen. Hamechalel einim mischalel. He makes his children into a challah, but he himself, he's fine. He doesn't become a challah.
So universally accepted as general Allah.
Let's look at the Rambam, but I think so.
Some people they quote unquote give up. They're going at the marry.
I've met someone that he's a kohen and he married a Kedusha, and he says he doesn't hold up this halacha. So
it's easy to say.
Very easy to say. Okay, what do you do?
About his kids not being, or about that he's not allowed to.
Let's see. Tell you a good story, or a good story that I heard, not firsthand, but someone that heard it from the baby in the story. Let's finish the second, then I'll tell you. We'll finish off with the story. It's an amazing story, a really amazing story from the Okay, so my brother says if someone who tried to make his who makes his children chalal, he himself doesn't become a chalal. So someone, which means the Eidim Zaymim, they were scheming to try to make into someone a chalal. So for sure they shouldn't become. If someone who actually made someone into a chalal, still nothing happens to him. So someone who only tried to make someone into a chalal by giving false testimony, for sure nothing should happen to him. So that doesn't make any sense because that is what Edom Zaymim is. The whole idea of Edom Zaymim is that you only tried, but still that's your punishment. You nullified the whole idea of Edom Zaymim. Because you'll say, if you say, if someone does if someone actually does says Einim Zainim, they only get the reciprocal punishment if the punishment wasn't given yet. But once the punishment was given, that's it. The case is over. We don't give a reciprocal punishment. You might say, what do you mean? If you actually killed someone, you don't get the reciprocal punishment. So if you only tried, for sure you shouldn't get the reciprocal punishment. But no, it's not like that. The rule of Einim Zainim is, this is what the Torah tells us, that even though you only tried, you still get that punishment. Okay? So fine, this Kal V'chomer is dismissed, and we have our original answer that it's because the pasuk says you have to punish him and not a shul. What's the story? The story is like this. I heard it. I'm reading Fahrenheit. His name is Rabbi Yosef Katzman, and he heard it he met someone by the Ohel, and the person of the Ohel says he is the baby in the story. So and recently I heard the story again from a different source. So and it's the same story, so it must be true. So the story is that there was a man that was married for many years, didn't have any children, and he only married for 10 years. And if you look what it says in the books, after 10 years, you get divorced. So fine, he wasn't Lubavitcher Chassid. Then he gets divorced. A few weeks later, his ex-wife calls him up and says,
I'm pregnant.
"I'm pregnant." Okay, so what do you do?
How long was the divorce one?
That's a few weeks. Short amount of time. See, fine. Let's get married, right? What's the problem? He's a Kohen.
Can marry
A man is in a situation.
That's a problem.
He can't remarry his wife. So what do you do? So he's going around from one Rav to the next, every Rebbe and every Rav.
Wait a minute. His wife was
Pregnant from him.
before she wasn't married.
No.
She was married to him and she
Yeah.
became pregnant from him.
Yeah, but they didn't know because 10 years they're not having children.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Because now, right after they got divorced, they found out that really
Okay, so they really what?
she became pregnant.
So what?
He's a Kohen.
The client,
But
they're not,
He can't
they're not to be married. Fine, but he wants to get married.
Wants to be married to her.
Okay, fine, okay. So that's what most people told him. Most people told him, tough luck. That's it. You're screwed over. Nothing to do about it, right? Okay, yeah. So someone told him to go to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he says, "Oh, Lubavitcher Rebbe, he doesn't know of any Rebbes, he never heard of Rebbes." He goes to Rav, then he goes to Rabbanim, he went to many Rabbanim, and they all know halacha. He's not going to some Lubavitcher Rebbe. So someone told him, "You have nothing to lose. Like, everybody told you're stuck. Might as well, give it a try." So he goes by dollars. And within a few seconds that he has, he tells the Rebbe the story. The Rebbe tells him, "Speak to your mother." Speak to your what? Speak to your mother.
Mother?
And he leaves. He's like, "Oh, speak to my mother. My mother is old. She's whatever. She doesn't know what's going on. I'm not gonna drive her crazy with this story. I don't want to worry her about it." And so said, "What do you mean? The Rebbe told you to speak to your mother. Speak to your mother." Okay. So he calls his mother. And he tells the mother what happened. And his mother's quiet. She said, that's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe told me. Says, something like, he must be a very holy man, something like that. And she says, very simple, you're adopted. We adopted you as a little baby. We didn't want you to know. We wanted you to have a normal life. But you're not a Kohen.
Maybe he's not even Jewish.
Well, apparently he was Jewish. I'm saying he was a from whatever. So, but they never wanted to tell him that he's really adopted. And
because of the Lubavitch Rebbe.
That's it. Oh, so this is Rabbi Yosef Katz who meets him. He says he comes to the oil because he's the baby.
Wow.
This guy that's by the oil is the baby of this situation. He brings his kids to the oil and he says thank you that he's here. Thanks to.
So how did
thanks to
Lubavitch Rebbe?
Even if he was not adopted, if he was conceived when his mother was still married to the Kohen, and then they got divorced, he's not going to be a Ben Rishon because the conception was no, that wasn't the problem. But the parents wanted to get back together.
Right, yeah, but he wants to get back, but he's not a Kohen anymore. Said he found that he's not really a Kohen. His brother.
Even if he was not adopted, he was a biological son.
They want,
So he's not going to be a Ben Rishon because the conception was okay.
No, you're mixing up the next.
No,
generation.
he's a Kohen. He can't get married to a divorced woman.
Oh, we're not worried
That
about
person that got divorced.
I thought you're talking about
No, nothing had to do with the son.
Okay.
Anyway, this is an amazing story. So this is, when you see here, one Amud Gemara, you cover so many, you have either Chosha, either Uzayim, you have Gerusha, Chalutza, Yibum, and Midal Mrs. Besdin, and Baskoye. You cover here a whole huge variety of different topics just on one Amud